bigger in Dallas. The crowds were bigger. The fans were much more sweet and kind. I love it. We paid them to say that.
Okay, that's enough.
That's enough.
I love you guys. You're spoiling me.
You're going to stay here.
I'm staying in Dallas. That's it. All right. So, look, let's talk about the Patriots, shall we? Last week, they barely survived against the Ravens. They had to overcome 2 14-point deficits. They barely rushed for any yards, 14, the fewest ever by a team in the postseason. So, this is our question. Should, in fact, they be concerned when they face the Colts? The question is for you, Skip Bayless.
Stephen A. Smith is a Patriots supporter on this show. I'll be the first to admit, I'm not only extremely concerned about this game against Andrew Luck and company, I'm flat out scared of it because I did not love what the Patriots did against the Baltimore Ravens. I loved what Tom Brady did. Once again, snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. He just flat out refused to lose the football game. And it did help that Julian Edelman threw a Brady-esque pass to little Danny Amendola.
That deceptive play?
Yeah, that wasn't deceptive. That was just a good play.
Very good play.
It was a great play.
Yeah.
But Stephen A. Smith, when you rush the ball for 14 yards on 13 carries, that's not a good sign at this point in the playoffs. When you give up 136 yards rushing to the Baltimore Ravens on 28 carries, that's 4.9 per rush. That's almost 5 yards every time they run the football. That is not a good sign at this point in the season. I do remind you, it wasn't that long ago, sometime back at midseason on a Sunday night in Indianapolis, when some kid named Jonas Gray came out of nowhere, Cardale Jones-like, if you will, and suddenly rushed the ball for 201 yards for the Patriots on 37 carries in that game. 4 touchdowns he scored. Since then, he has been so lost in the doghouse, he has carried the ball 20 total times for 80 yards. 20 for 80 after that one night of 201 on 37. So I don't know what's going on with the run game. Again, does Baltimore have New England's number in Foxborough? They basically do, until Tom Brady said, not now, not in my house this time. But still, it scares me that Indy has come back together on defense. It scares me they went to Denver and held the Broncos, their vaunted rushing attack, featuring the guy you had on your SiriusXM show, C.J. Anderson, held that rushing attack to 88 total rush yards in that loss Sunday at home for Denver at home. Indy is coming in suddenly hot, and somehow, some way, the Patriots had better figure out how to run the ball just a little bit more than 14 on 13 carries.
I completely agree with you in that notion. I'm concerned because the Indianapolis Colts team that I watched defensively against Denver, I did not recognize. They looked faster. They were hitting harder. They were malicious. They came with bad intentions, bro. They showed up, and they looked fast. Now, obviously, against the Marius and Julius Thomas with Emmanuel Sanders, Wes Welker, I didn't expect that. New England isn't supposed to have those weapons, but somehow, some way, they have an X factor I don't know if anybody has an answer for outside of Seattle, and that is Rob Gronkowski, who showed up. You're going to have to deal with him if you're the Indianapolis Colts, and you're going to have to suffocate that middle, and that's going to tell me what's going to happen with the Brandon LaFells, the Danny Amendolas, the Julian Edelmans of the world, because you're going to have to throw outside the number. You're going to have opportunities rather to throw outside the numbers against Indianapolis, because I think they're going to key in terms of suffocating the middle to try and limit what Rob Gronkowski is going to do to them. But I got to admit to you, Skip, listening to your explanation, and I really didn't think about this until you just brought this up, I almost find myself hoping New England loses this game. And I'm going to tell you why. And I'm not saying who I'm going to pick or whatever, but I only hope it in this respect. I love me some Bill Belichick. I think he's a sensational coach, and he's revered, appropriately so. You know how I feel about my man, Robert Kraft, the owner of the New England Patriots, who's also been on my show, and we communicate all the time, and I love him dearly. That is truly America's team in my mind. You know how I feel about the Patriots.
He might be back on.
That's right. No. Well, he told me he'll come on anytime I ask him to. So, I appreciate that. Okay. I respect that man. I love what he stands for. But my thing is this. Jonas Gray performed. Now, I understand that he's not perfect. I don't know what he did. But damn it, he's either on the team or he's not.
Yeah.
And when you got a guy that shows up and produces for you, and the second he's getting some acclaim, you may not have liked how he handled it. So Tom Brady has to suffer?
Remember, he was late one day. Remember that?
Listen, yeah, I remember that. But what I'm saying is, so was Darrelle Revis. I still see him playing. All I'm trying to say is this. Bill Belichick seems, I don't know this because I don't cover the team. I'll leave it to the folks for ESPNBoston.com to tell me this. But it seems like Bill Belichick is hell-bent on sending these messages.
He is.
And I'm saying, look, man, when you got guys that you throw, that's like a general throwing soldiers on the front line and not giving them the ammunition necessary to back them up because you want to send a message. Well, it could kill them. How's that going to help them then?
Yeah.
I'm looking at Tom Brady. This man has been in this league, and regardless of how I feel about Aaron Rodgers being the bad man that he is, there is no question that Tom Brady is one of the greatest to have ever done it. He's a 3-time Super Bowl champion. He's been to 5 Super Bowls. He's epitomized professionalism and class. If Peyton Manning's an ultra ambassador of the game, so is Tom Brady, not to mention the beautiful off-the-field choices that this man has made.
They're great.
Okay? So my point to you is this. When you look at Tom Brady making those decisions, does he not deserve Bill Belichick submerging his ego and some of his ways and saying, I kind of owe it to this kid to give him everything that he needs because the clock is ticking.
Yeah.
Tom Brady is not going to get but so many more bites at the apple. If Jonas Gray is that dude, all right, we'll deal with him in the offseason. But right now, Tom Brady could use him. Let's make sure him with LeGarrette Blount and others are being utilized to the max. Empty the chamber for Tom Brady.
Okay,
he deserves it.
I didn't know we were going to go here, so forgive me because I don't remember the exact language he used, Jonas Gray, in a tweet after he got, what did he got suspended for?
I know.
Remember, and there's something where he tweeted about, you know, what have you done for me lately? And he was upset about it, and it came off as a sarcastic anti-Belichick tweet.
I got it. Okay? And I'm saying to you,
in that doghouse,
listen,
you know,
it was wrong. It was immature. He deserved to suffer for it. I got it.
Yeah.
Throw him off the team.
If that's it.
The Steelers didn't like what LeGarrette Blount did. When LeGarrette Blount walked off the field before the end of their win, after Le'Veon Bell had rushed for 202 yards, I believe, LeGarrette Blount was out the door. He was gone.
And he was also in New England's door.
Listen. If somebody is good enough, meaning if whatever transgressions they committed, if it wasn't enough to throw them off the team, then it should be enough for you to forgive them. This ain't the time for all of that. I'm telling you right now, and I'm not one who advocates, you know, the wives getting involved and got something to say. Look, let the men handle their business. You don't need to be. But I don't blame Giselle. If she's sitting there, look, damn it, I got to deal with my man in the off season here. He's been working this hard for this Super Bowl. He kind of needs this dude. Could you stop that and make sure you give him everything that he needs to get it done? I don't have a problem with that because Bill Belichick owes it to Tom Brady to exhaust every measure under the sun to give him a chance to win another chip.
Okay, so our producer, Brian Bork, tells us that the tweet was something like, this is an example, another example, Brian, or an example of how fast people can turn their back on you. And I'm going to assume, though I don't know this, that Bill Belichick did not like that tweet. I'm pretty sure he took it down fairly quickly after that.
Deleted it right after it was posted.
I'm saying let's attach all the guilt into the world to the kid. He should have been slapped upside his head for doing such an idiotic thing.
But move on.
He's wrong. But how many weeks has it been? And it's now the playoffs, man.
Need him.
Tom Brady deserves every option being exhausted. Everything.
So maybe he gets unleashed against the Colts
again. To your point about Jonas Gray, our producer also says this. He is their leading rusher, but he only has 412 rush yards. That is the fewest rush yards for a team heading into the AFC or NFC championship. Something to look out for and be concerned if you are a Patriots fan and you want to see them do well.
All I'm saying is, can Bill Belichick, and I know he pretty much doesn't really answer questions. I mean, he's not nearly as bad as Marshawn Lynch, but he doesn't really answer
I'm grateful.
He doesn't really answer questions. But I would love for Bill Belichick to answer one question. As a coach, if you shove your ego aside, can you honestly look Tom Brady in the face and say, as great as you are, because Bill Belichick is great, that you did everything you could to give this guy the best possible opportunity
because he's
to
doing
win.
the same.
I'm wondering that.
What did Giselle say? She said he can't catch balls too. What'd she say? Remember
That's the Super Bowl years ago.
Remember Super Bowl years ago? She got mad.
I don't keep up with what Giselle
You don't
says.
know what Giselle says.
I cover football.
You don't know what Giselle says. She's a football player.
I will say this. I will say this. I do keep up with the style that she has employed.
She looks good.
I'm
and
not
he
talking
looks
about
good
her.
too.
I'm not talking about her. I'm talking about him.
They both look good.
That Tom Ford Blaze.
Is that Tom Ford?
Yes, it is. Yes,
it is?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Is that Tom Ford?
Yes,
that's not Tom Ford.
Hugo Boss.
Oh, Hugo Boss. He tried to up you. Okay. Ballers! Coming up next, folks. I'm holding court after the break. These guys are fresh dressed. I'm just trying to hang in there. Hugo Boss, Tom Ford, whatever you're wearing at home. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll be right back in just a few moments.